Look, my name is Tanya Smith for those of you who don't know me, but I am super thrilled and excited. And you're right, Dan. Ty does bring out my personality. We go way back. And Dr. Pam Perry, we see you in there too. I'm going to definitely pull you both up on my comments in just a second. I'm Tanya Smith, and this is Stream Like a Boss TV. It's one of my favorite platforms that I get to be on each and every week on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, talking about live stream marketing and how you can really leverage it to stand out online, to serve more people, and to sell more of your services. So I am super thrilled and excited when I get a chance to actually bring on a guest to my virtual stage so that we can hang out and talk a little bit about what they do, shine the spotlight on them, but also shine the spotlight on you, because this season, what we're talking about is how to actually leverage different parts of video marketing as well as other types of marketing, especially when you're a side hustler. So I have a lot of side hustler friends, and I myself have been a side hustler for 30 something years. So I get it. And we want to make sure that we're here for you. If you've got questions as we talk about the topic tonight, which could go anywhere, by the way, and although Ty is of that marketing team, and I like to call her the quiz queen, I think a lot of people call her the quiz queen, who knows what direction our conversation might head. So I want to make sure that you know this is a great time for you to ask questions, because we are here live and in person for real right now. I love it. I see Bob Sparkins in there too. What's up? Look, I'm definitely going to have to showcase these comments here shortly, but before I do, what I want to ask you to do is to go get yourself a notepad and a pen. Make sure that you have your favorite cup of hydration and get ready to participate, because we're going to be hanging out together here for a little bit. And we're going to definitely talk about lead magnets, marketing, and who knows, some other stuff too, because we just have fun like that. So I'll see you on this other side of the short video, and we'll introduce you to Tai Goodwin of that marketing team. All right. See you in just a second. Oh my goodness. It's my girl, Tai Goodwin. Welcome to the show. Look, hold up. I got to do this. I got to do. Yes. Applause. Applause. Okay. So, Ty, you sent a note probably, I don't know, within the hour before we actually are live right now. You sent a note and said something about this day. Can you tell the people what you wrote?
Well, yeah, well, you know how Facebook sends these little flashbacks and, it goes through years. And actually, 12 years ago today, you posted a message that said, I just had a conversation with Tai Goodwin. And I said, how interesting, how funny is it that 12 years ago we had a conversation and 12 years later we are still having conversations?
That is crazy. And we go back even before the 12 years, but that is just so interesting. It's the same exact day. Do you mind if I welcome folks? Because there are people that are popping up in support of you, and I want to make sure that you know they're here. So first of all, I got to pop up my boy, my brother, Dan, the honest accomplice. He said Ty brings out Tanya's personality. She does. Are you trying to say I don't have one if she's not here, Dan? I know that's not what you're saying. And Dr. Pam Perry of Pam Perry TV, yes, you know you're a favorite of ours too. Pam,
Yeah.
Dr. Pam Perry, and all of us go way back.
I was thinking the same thing. We go way back.
2007 at the latest.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least 2007. I see Bob Sparkins in the house. We both know
Hey,
him.
Bob.
What's up,
I think
Bob?
the last time we physically saw each other, we were with Bob. It was
You
at
know what?
a conference. Yeah.
It was. It was at an
Mhm.
event. It was a live event. Oh my goodness. John Lacey. Okay, John always helps me to stay on point. I do try to tell you, look, folks, if you're new to the show and you've never been here before, type in hashtag newbie so we can acknowledge you and recognize you and thank you for coming because this is your first time and we want to make sure you feel welcome. If you have been with us before, type in hashtag OG, just like my friend John Lacey of Learn Live Streaming with John Lacey did. And also, I see Chocolate Quilts in the house. What's up? What's up? What's up? John says, "Hey, Ty." And he said, "We know Ty from a previous episode of the show." Exactly, because I do love to have repeat guests when they're amazing. John has been on my show too. So, John, don't be surprised if you get another invite for next year. Everybody's saying hello. What's up, Tiffany? All right. We got to do some intros for the folks that don't know you. So, I definitely want to get into your background. Talk a little bit about, because I could definitely read the bio, but I'm not going to do that. Tell us about yourself and what do you want folks to know about you?
Oh, wow. So let's see. If you had asked me 30 years ago, what would I be doing? This former fifth grade teacher would never have said, I'll be doing marketing and I'll be running a marketing agency. Not in the picture at all, but that's what we do. So when I met Tanya, when we first connected, I was in corporate. So I went from a classroom teacher to corporate
Yep.
training, instructional design. This is my second go at being a full time entrepreneur. My first time failed horribly, lots of lessons learned there. And my second time, we're going into our between year 6 and 7 of being a full time entrepreneur. And as a marketer, but really more of a teacher, I help a lot of my clients who are amazing at what they do. I help them do the marketing stuff that they either don't like to do or they just don't know how to do it so that they can just focus on the stuff that they love.
And you know, I actually I position this as Ty, the marketing queen, the queen of quizzes, right? But you have such a wealth of knowledge in so many areas. And I also told you that although I kind of came up with some questions, I was probably not going to stick with them. And you gave me permission not to have to stick with them. So I do want to know, like, what took you from the classroom into marketing? Like, what was the appeal for you?
Well, I knew I wanted to leave the classroom because I did not like, first of all, I couldn't go to the bathroom when I wanted to. Let me be real. Right? I got tired of, having 10 or 15 minutes for lunch and being like, I felt really trapped, but I just didn't want to be a part of that kind of educational system. And I was like, I'm not doing it. And what actually got me into starting my own business, I think it started there, was my daughter was born, and I was pregnant with her, and I didn't want to go back to work, so I said, "Oh, I'll just start a business on the side." Well, actually, my plan was to go full time, but it didn't work out that way. And so I was launching while working. And what got me into marketing was I was trying to do career coaching. When I first met you, I was the career makeover coach because coaching changed my life.
Yeah.
And I didn't find a lot of people that looked like me who needed coaching at the time. This was like 20 something years ago, right? Nobody was trying to do coaching. And so what ended up happening was I was really great at social media, like leveraging Facebook and LinkedIn. And I was really good on Twitter. I had like 14,000 followers back in the day.
Yeah.
That was when it was just getting started. And as people started saying, well, can you show me what you're doing? Because you're so good at it. So I started teaching people. I'm a teacher. I teach people what I do. And then people said, well, can you just do it for me? So I just started doing it for people. So that's how I kind of got to starting to teach people how to do marketing and then actually just do marketing for people.
Awesome. Awesome. And what's the thing that you love the most today? Because
Mm,
marketing today is far different than it
yeah.
was when you and I started out. So, what is it that you love about marketing in this moment right now?
What I really love about marketing right now, man, that's a really interesting question. Um, what do I love about I'm gonna be real, what do I love about marketing? I love content. I'm a writer. And
Yeah.
I actually love that I'm starting to see more people do long form writing, because for a while there, it was so funny. People say, well, people don't read. I'm like, well, people say that, but then content marketing is the ruler of things right now. So how do you say that people don't read? Or
Hmm.
the fact that people are using Chat GPT for everything, but people don't read? So give me a break, right? But I love the fact that I'm seeing more long form content and more people who love writing and who love words really stepping up their game and being in the marketplace right now. That's kind of fun.
I love that too. I do. And although I love writing, I probably have done a lot less of it. I'd say in the past couple of years, primarily because done a lot more of video. I focus so much on video. But I get into a zone and I do enjoy putting pen to paper.
Mhm.
And it's interesting that you said that because there's so many things that are alike about us too. Every
Yeah.
time we get together, I'm like, yeah, me too.
Mhm.
Me
Oh yeah.
too, Ty.
Yeah.
Let me see. I got a comment from Bob. With all the tools, you got to know your stuff with creative implementation in order to stand out. It's true. It's
Yeah.
so true. And did you
Mhm.
see Dan's note? The person that creates all those BuzzFeed quizzes. It is very cool. And thank you, Dan, for being here and being a support always. You're amazing. And I just love you so much, my brother. So, Ty, tell me a little bit about when it comes to quizzes, because I know that's a question that some people have had. And one of the
Mhm.
things that I have been really trying to focus on with this season, as I mentioned earlier, is side hustlers.
Mhm.
One of the things that we tend to, I won't say fail to do, but we aren't always good at doing is feeding the funnel.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
what about quizzes makes that an ideal start or an ideal place to begin to pull people into your sales process?
Well, I think there's a couple of things with quizzes, right? But, one of the things is that it's very interactive, and that's what people are looking for right now.
Yeah.
It's not just, hey, download my cheat sheet or my PDF now. I love a good Canva checklist. However, the interactivity is what pulls people in. We're a little bit narcissistic, right? We want to know about us. And the best quizzes help us figure things out about ourselves. And that's for the end user side. But when it comes to entrepreneurs and side hustlers, one of the best things about quizzes is that the conversion rate is so much better. So, typical conversion rate for a lead magnet is going to be around 15 to 20%. We've seen quizzes convert at 30%, 40%, 60%, 70%. And when you are short on time, you need something that's going to give you the most bang for your buck. Why not go after a lead magnet that converts the best?
Yeah, that makes total sense. And I did hire the best team to put my own quiz together, and I'm super excited because I'm putting it back out there. You
Mhm.
have done something that I thought was genius,
Mm.
and it is to marry the art of quiz creation with ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that? I want the folks to know about the magic that you do.
Well, we have a lot of people that think I'm just going to make a quiz, and they pull something together. They put a bunch of questions in it, or they use a template. Or my favorite is they'll go to Fiverr and find somebody, and then they'll come back and say, "Well, my quiz isn't working." Right. And what they don't realize is that there's a strategy behind the questions that you ask, the way you ask them. And that's where my skill set comes in. I've got a master's degree in instructional design. I, spent a week learning how to create legally defensible questions, right? When I was, working on for in a company in the financial district in New York City. And we had to create a certification quiz or certification exam for stockbrokers, right? For people that worked in that. So I got some skin in this game. But what ChatGPT allowed me to do was to take the same process that we go through with our clients, and give it to ChatGPT and let ChatGPT create the content, not just for your quiz title, but your questions, your outcomes, your emails, the landing page copy, the Facebook ads, the social media. And it's a beautifully streamlined process. I've had people come back and say that they've used this and they've been able to create the content for their entire quiz in about 90 minutes. game
And
changer for a lot of people who struggle with that.
she's not even making this up, y'all. When she says this, like I know because I've been through the process myself and I was so amazed.
Mhm.
And right now, one of the hot commodities that we have, especially as side hustlers, is our time. If we can get time back, that's everything. So the fact that you're able to do that and to work with people on shortening the length of time that it takes to create not just a, because I think a lot of people are out there creating quizzes, but not
Mhm.
everybody's creating quizzes that truly are results based and are helping to segment their audience the way that yours does. So kudos to you on that.
Well, yeah, a lot of people are creating surveys,
Yeah.
right? And the first thing that they'll say is, "I'm going to create a quiz, and here are all the questions that I want to ask in my quiz." Well, that's a survey. Like, I don't need to answer your survey to figure out how many kids and how many husbands I have, right? I already know that, right? It's just telling me information I already know. So you really want a quiz, and to be more specific, what you really want is a behavior-based quiz that's going to give you data that you can actually use to segment your audience, to qualify people or disqualify people. And that's the beauty of a quiz. It's really the data that you get.
If someone were just starting out with quizzes as a lead magnet, first of all, is it a good idea to start out with a lead magnet as a quiz, or should there be something else like the downloadable Canva thing that you mentioned earlier? Or should they start there if they're brand new with business?
I would say yes. Now, the technical side of it and putting it together, it can be a little bit of a bigger like learning curve or a bigger investment. But here's the thing. Um, if you're just starting out and you're looking for something that's going to cut through the noise, because everybody has a checklist, right? Everybody can go into Canva and they can make something and make it look pretty. But what you're really looking for is to cut through the noise. That was what Bob was saying, right? You got to have a creative way to implement things to stand out in the crowd.
Yeah.
So the sooner you can have something that grabs people's attention, and because of the way that a quiz pulls people in and then nurtures them with the follow up messaging that's specifically personalized based on their quiz results, you're already like 10x in your know, like, and trust factor
Mm-hmm.
because you didn't just give me something that was generic, you gave me something that was specific to me, right?
Yeah. And the way that you set mine up, what's really interesting about it, Ty, because I did stop using it for a little while in all transparency, but it was just because I needed to pull back and say, wait a minute, I need to drive people to this in a very strategic way and make sure that on the other side of that quiz, like after they've gotten their results and I know what their results are and I know this is who they are and where they are on that journey, I wanted to make sure that I had robust content available for each of those different segments that I wanted to truly serve. And so now for 2024, almost my entire sales funnel and sales cycle is based on the quiz that you and your team helped me to create. And I've mapped it out such that those people who are in different segments, they will be driven to different parts of what I do. So it really can be a game changer if you think it through at the beginning, like you're saying, versus just saying, I'm just going to do a survey and it's cute. And here we go. Hey, everybody, I got a quiz.
Mhm.
Is there a tool that you recommend? I see some comments, so we definitely have to pull those up. Oh, this is a really good question.
Well, yeah, well, the top two tools that I use, one is like the best one. Like if you're a WordPress person, her name is Vina. You might know Vina
Vina
because she's
Prashant.
Digital Access Pass, and that was one of the very first membership tools
Oh,
that
yeah.
I remember buying when I first started out, like 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But she has Smart Quiz Builder. And it's got AI stuff in it. It's got all different types of questions, calculators, but you have to have a WordPress site in order to make that run. So that's probably my go-to tool for my folks that got WordPress. And if you don't have WordPress, the other tool that we recommend, and this is probably the best one for newbies, it's called Interact. Try Interact is Interact. You can use that one. I've got a affiliate thing, TaiLikes.com/interact if you go there. But I love that because it's so simple to use and
Mm.
it really does the best job of kind of making it really easy for you to figure out, okay, I do step one, step two, step three. And I've been a certified partner with them for over 3.5 years.
Yes. And that actually was where I started, Ty. Before I got with your team, I was using Try Interact. I was partnered up with them, but I didn't have a clue about what I was doing with it. I just went out there and said, I'm going to pick one of their quizzes and see which one might work. And it wasn't working because I hadn't thought it through. And that's the beauty of what you've done, what you've pulled together with your team. I want to definitely acknowledge some folks. And let's see, John asked a question. How do you make a quiz transformative? How does that happen?
Oh, I love this. It comes back to the content, right? The content and knowing your audience. So, one of the things that I see people do, and this is a really big mistake, people try to use a quiz to figure out who their audience is. Well, that's what a survey is for.
Yeah.
Whole different tactic, right? So, you're not using a quiz to figure out what to offer people. You use a survey for that. You do the market research for that, but then you use a quiz to help qualify and segment your audience. And then the other piece of it is what comes with the content. Like when people take one of our quizzes, we've got a report that comes afterwards, and it's really helpful information. And because of the way we've designed the questions, one of the things we constantly hear back from people is, "Oh my gosh, just so resonated with me. It was spot on."
Yeah.
So it's not like something, oh, this doesn't make any sense. Like I'll give you a quick example. There was a person that I knew, and she was like, well, I made this quiz. She didn't use my process, but she made a quiz, and it was like, what goddess are you?
Hmm.
So let me ask you, Tanya, if you were taking a quiz called Which Goddess Are You? What do you think the person was selling at the end of the quiz?
Honestly, I have no no idea, but something in the spiritual realm, I maybe. Eh.
She was selling skincare products.
Oh,
And she was like, nobody's buying. They're taking my quiz, but they're not buying. Well, if I take a quiz that's going to help me figure out which goddess I am, how in the world are you telling me that because your goddess is Isis, you should use shea butter or coconut? Like that doesn't make any sense,
bless her
right?
heart. Oh my God.
Like, so it's that kind of misalignment that people are like, oh, I'm going to make this really cute. You want it to be problem based. Like for one of our clients that was a doctor, this is probably one of my favorite quizzes. We had a quiz called Where Did My O Go? And yes, we were talking about that O because she was a gynecologist helping women with their libido. So
That
imagine,
makes sense.
right? You're scrolling on Facebook, right? And then you see, where did my O go? And this woman, and she's got this question. He's like, oh my gosh, let me check this out. And then you take it and you start to realize that, oh, I'm having a problem with my libido because I'm taking this medication, or I'm stressed out at work, or because of my diet. Oh, I didn't know that was even an issue. Oh, wait, you have something that can help me? Oh, now
I
that's
want
the
that. Yeah.
exactly, like, that's the process, what it is, but it has to be something that helps them get some insight that's gonna help them, and that's where the transformation happens.
That is deep. That's really deep. And I think you gave a really solid example. I'm going to acknowledge a couple of people. Let me know if that helped you, John, with the answer. I see that everybody's acknowledging each other in the comments, and I always love that because this is such an amazing community. These are very sharp people, Ty. So trust me, they first of all, they're benefiting from having you here, but we're benefiting from having them here too. I know that Roy Tech Troublemaker is talking about WordPress. Yeah, so he wrote a book on WordPress once. That's funny. Okay, and then I see a couple of other folks who are newer. I think I have not seen Myopia is Mental before. So hello to you and welcome. Welcome to our show, our Stream Like a Boss TV show. Let me ask you a couple more questions, Ty, because this is fun. And look, none of those were planned.
But this is just how we roll, right?
This
This is how we've been rolling ever since.
is what we do. It's what we do. And he said, yes, that was great. Thank you, Ty and Tanya. Thank you for the question too, John. And if anybody else has questions, if you have questions about marketing in general, but if you have
Mhm.
questions about quizzes or lead magnets or funnels or any of that stuff, this is a great time to ask because when I tell you that Ty is a genius, and I can really say that from personal experience, like she is my go to when I'm stuck and I'm thinking, I'm not sure what my next step should be. Who do I check in with? I'm checking in with my girl. So trust me, this is a good opportunity for you to ask some questions. So, Ty, if there were one piece of advice that you would give your younger self 20
Mm.
years ago,
Oh,
yeah, 20 years ago, about business and being in business,
mm.
what advice would that be?
Raise your prices. Absolutely raise your prices. And I struggled with that for so long. But, way back in the day, I wanted to help everybody. The teacher in me, I want to help you. I want to
I'm just
help
trying
you.
to help you.
And yeah, and there's helping, and you can go work for a nonprofit and volunteer. And then there's being an entrepreneur and making money and finding a way to help people. I mean, you can do both. They're not like, two completely different things.
Right.
But I didn't reckon, I think at the core of it, Tanya, was I didn't recognize my value, soon enough. And I wish I would have really honored the value that I bring to the table earlier. That would have been my best advice to myself.
What made you finally realize that you were not recognizing your value? I know that's probably a rhetorical question, but it's not. Like, was there a moment or was there a season where you figured that out, and how did you figure it out?
All right, my folks know that I'm transparent because I think, they used to say that line, tell the truth, shame the devil. I don't believe in
Mm-hmm.
shame and telling the truth. I believe you change people's lives, right? So I'm going to tell you the truth. I was in this mastermind with some folks that didn't look like me. Okay. And everybody was talking about their product and their offer, and they're going around. And when, they were asking me, well, what are you doing? What are your prices? And when I said it and I said my price, the room got so quiet. And they were embarrassed for me
Mm,
about my pricing
yeah.
because I was charging so low, and they were charging, like, people were charging like 2 or 3 times more than what I was charging, and they weren't doing half of what I was doing.
Yep.
Right. And it was embarrassing, and it was just, it was so hard. But I did have a few people that kind of pulled me aside and said, oh, why are you, like, what's going on, like, why are you charging that? And I was like, oh, okay. But that was the game changer for me, and I realized it had nothing to do with my services and what I was offering, and it had everything to do with what I thought
Yep.
people would give me.
Because you were setting the prices.
Say again.
You were setting the prices. They weren't
Exactly. I'm
setting
the
them.
boss. Right. I'm the
Mm-hmm.
boss. I'm the one setting the prices. But
Yep.
yeah, I had to do a lot of mindset work, a lot of EFT and tapping, right? To
Yeah.
get into that place. And it's not as easy for everybody. And I want to say this, especially for people who are, the side hustlers, launching while working folk, right? Because when you come from that place where you work in a day job and you're used to all of the costs being absorbed, right? You see your paycheck and
Mm-hmm.
you think that's the only cost to you doing what you do. That's not true, right? So when you think about that coming out into your own business, it's your salary plus the marketing plus the lights plus the health insurance plus,
All
so, and
things.
that's just the base price, right? So I didn't think about that early on. I just wanted to help people, and I just love what I was doing.
And this is not to say people
Whatever.
shouldn't love helping people. That's not the message. I hope y'all are
Right.
really hearing and paying attention to the message.
Yeah.
It is about recognizing, or you go ahead. What
Well,
would you say it is?
yes, there's helping people, but we have to understand that you don't go into business necessarily to help people, right? You go into business to make money, and helping people is a byproduct of that.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the other things that I learned really early on, the best way to burn yourself out and to hate your business and your clients is to undercharge.
Yep.
Because then you're doing all the work, and when you're doing all the work and getting not a lot of money, you can't show up authentically.
Mm-hmm.
You can't show up with the right energy. You're not getting enough sleep. You're worried about how you're going to pay your bills. How do you then come into a space where you can serve people with everything you've got
Yeah.
when you're stressed out about all this other stuff? It's just not going to work long term.
I have a couple of questions about quizzes that I need to pop up. So Arcade 3 is in the house. What's up? Robert Kennedy the third. How often should you update your quizzes?
Oh, this is a great question. So,
Yeah.
when you start seeing, well, I don't necessarily update my quizzes. I'll make a different quiz. And here's why I'll say that. That first quiz that you've got, it was for a particular set of people at a specific spot on the customer journey, right? So what you're going to find is that after you get people in, so for example, we've got a quiz about, it's called what type of quiz is right for your business. And that's just to get people thinking about, oh, I didn't know there were all these different types of quizzes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, after you get down a little bit further and you've already decided that you want to do a quiz and you've got that working, we've got another thing that we give people, and it's called what marketing automation will speed up your sales. Why? Because now that you're generating all those leads, chances are you need some other automation in place. But that's for you if you're further down the funnel of what we do. So it's not necessarily about updating your quiz, it's thinking about your customer's journey
Mm-hmm.
and making sure, okay, you got them on your list. Maybe you want to re-engage them in another 6 months with a different quiz for a different phase of the customer journey.
I love it. I love it. And I updated mine solely because I wanted to really leverage from a visual aspect. I wanted to leverage the whole AI, and I was having fun, with Mid Journey and Dolly and stuff like that. So that was one of the reasons. But most of my questions have been the same because they are still solid questions for helping me to segment my audience. Here's
Mhm.
another question. How many questions should the quiz be, and which platform for survey and landing page? Okay. So she mentioned a couple of different ones earlier, didn't you? You mentioned Interact
Well,
and you
the
also
quiz,
mentioned Smart Quiz Builder, but there's more
right.
questions in this question.
Yeah, that was quiz platform. So we got that. And first of all, Renee, are those sunflowers in your picture? Because sunflowers are my favorite flower. So
See,
just put
that's why
that out
Renee is here.
there.
Renee is special.
Yeah, well, here's one thing to remember that most people are taking a quiz on their phone. Like we look at the data. I'm a data person when it comes to the marketing numbers, right? And most people are taking a quiz on their phone. I had somebody like, I evaluate quizzes all the time. I do audits for people's quizzes. And somebody, asked me to look at their quiz, and their quiz was 30 questions long. I stopped after
Oof.
question number 12. I'm not answering 30 questions for a quiz. It's just too much, right? So we try to keep our quizzes between 7 to 12 questions, at least 2 or 3 demographic questions, and everything else helps filter and segment your audience. That's all you need. Remember, this isn't a survey. You're not asking them every single thing. Now, about your landing pages, I'm going to do a shameless plug. We use something called Lead Momentum. It's our white labeled version of Go High Level. For those of you that are knowing and hearing about the buzz about High Level, we have a white label version of that where we've got all of our quiz funnels set up. So when our clients come in, they don't have to like worry about like their quiz landing page. We've got them designed already. And so we actually give them that quiz funnel, right? And then we actually have the automation set up too, because that's the other piece to it. It's not just the quiz, it's the follow-up automations that come after it. And so they take the quiz, they get segmented based on their results, and then each person is going to get a different email conversation based on what their results were. Why? Because if you're going to take the time to make a quiz, capitalize on the opportunity to personalize your follow-up messages.
I love it. And you know what? I'm starting to personalize mine with, guess what? Video.
Yeah, I knew you would say
Because I love the aspect of having the special report. But then I also thought, why don't I take the special report and then also give people, more in depth
that.
information about here's where I see that you are based on how you answered it, and personalize it. So it's been great. I just
Well,
have
let
to
me
thank you for that.
well, I want to flip it for a minute because I want to ask you a question, Tanya, because there's this trend that I've seen that I don't like, but I want to
Uh-oh.
hear your perspective.
I'm
So
scared.
there's, well, no, but there are tools out now, because everybody, things happen and there's a curve and there's a trend, but there's these platforms out there that have these called video quizzes. Now,
Mm,
I don't like them. And I'll tell you, I don't like them
yep.
because I don't like when people take a quiz, I want to hit my answers and I want to go to the next one and get my result.
Yep.
What I've seen with those is they ask a question, you answer it, and then somebody pops up and says, well, blah, 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 blah. That's like a mini course, but that's just me.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, like, what do you think about that trend to have like the quiz in the, like the videos in the quiz questions? What do you think about that?
It's not my favorite either. I wouldn't do it personally for the same reason that you just said, which is that just much like any other lead magnet, you know, the old advice about don't try to collect 100,000 different pieces of information or else the person will give up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to me, going through that type of process would make me say, I don't have time for this. Personally, I don't have time. I just wanted to click some buttons and make sure I read through it and understand it and get the report at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
Yeah.
funny because I see that Dan has made a comment that I want to pop up too. I wonder
Yes.
what your thoughts are about this. He says, I'm all for automation, but when an influencer promotes a free quiz, then you get to the end and you don't get the report until giving your email. It feels like I'm done dirty. What's your take on that?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Dan, but I'm one of those people where, I mean, listen, this is an exchange, right? Like, it's like going on, it's like, like we talk about how marketing is like dating, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, let's say we are on a dating app and we're talking back and forth and you never give me your phone number, right? Like, what's going on with that? Like, I think I'm cute, let's,
I
why
thought
are
we
we
could
going
have
to
another
the
date.
next stage? Right? Why are we going to the next stage? And I think it's the same. For me, that's what it's like. We're in this conversation, right? I'm bringing you in, I'm getting you interested because my intention is to take it to the next step. And so I'm not gonna like bring you all the way through this and then we're never ever gonna talk again. Like that's not the people who I want in this experience with me. I want somebody who's gonna trust me enough to say, you know what? And we have a phrase for it. I say we want them to go from I'm interested to I'm in. Right. So I'm
Yeah.
interested enough to give you my email address because if you're not, I don't want you on my list. And it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get my answers either because there's some value into what I'm giving you here, So you want the value. I think it's valuable to know you because I might be able to help you with what I offer. So there's an exchange there. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what it is. I like, that's my thoughts on that.
So he says, if you tell me up front, I'm cool with it. Okay,
Ah,
Dan.
okay. Yeah, yeah. Well,
I get
that's
it.
interesting. I'll say this, that's very interesting because when people put the email and name first,
Mm-hmm.
it cuts their conversion numbers
Yeah, it does.
because a lot of people are turned off because I don't even know if I'm going to talk to you and you're asking me. So that's why we will ask you some questions first. And probably what usually happens in those cases is they haven't done a really good quiz.
Yeah.
It's like fluff, and so it's like, what is this crap, right? But if it's good enough, well, I gotta have this information, and so I'm going to keep going.
Yeah. And I know, like with mine, the way it's set up currently, I think at the end, the page does pop up and it says, here's what your result is. But there's deeper dive information available for you if you pop in your email, because then I'm going to send you the full report.
Yeah, and you could do it
So,
that way too. Yeah, you can
yeah,
absolutely do it that way too.
I think there's so many different ways, right? Thank you, Myopia is Mental,
I love it.
for catching up and hanging out with us. I love that you're watching the whole show. He spoke fashion. I did not acknowledge you, but I want to say thank you. He says, this is great information. Glad I caught it live. Yes, 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 yes. Love it. Let me see what else we got. My mama always said I was a little bit different. Dan. I love it. Okay, what other pieces of advice do people need to know about pulling together a quiz? Let's say somebody wanted to do it on their own, Ty,
Mhm.
and so they didn't want to go and, get your fabulous services or, take your course and all of those things. Where would they begin?
Oh gosh, man, that's such it has to go back to making sure you really have a good foundation. Like offer audience message has to be on point or else it's just not going to work.
Yep.
You got to have that piece of it. And then, just do your due diligence and find a tool that works. Don't go for the cheapest tool. And that goes for your quiz platform or for your email platform. You really need a tool that's going to be something that gives you the opportunity to segment your list and gives you the data that you need, and they play nicely together. So you got to choose the right tool. And then, I would spend some time, I would take as many quizzes as you can so that you can see what the experiences are like. So you can see quizzes that didn't work. And if you find it, like if you take quizzes and you find when it doesn't work for you, why didn't it work? Right? Take a look at the visuals, start paying attention to all those little nuances because they matter.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people that say, well, I'm just going to use Google. I think it's a Google form that you can use for a survey, or they
Yeah.
use Typeform. And, those are okay platforms, but visually, does it entice people to want to keep going, or is it like, man, this is a form I'm filling out, I don't like this? So
Yeah.
experience is very, very important, especially in a visual, society. And when we're trying to really capture people's attention, you have to make sure that visually it's on point.
That is really, there a couple of things that you said in there were reasons why I did pause my quiz at one point. Because one, I knew that I needed to do better and not be lazy, because I was at first, but not be lazy as far as putting together a really solid landing page so that when people got to the quiz, they
Mhm.
knew why they were filling it out. They knew what I was planning to, deliver at the other side of the quiz and them sharing their email. That was one thing. And the other thing was that I knew I was making a shift in the different types of offers. So,
Mhm.
something that's really key that I love what you said about having an understanding of your offer and your audience. So many people jump right into, hey, they go past that. Hey, I want a quiz, or hey, I want a sales funnel, or hey, I want a whatever. And they haven't even thought about who it is they want to speak to or what they want to sell.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to think about that ahead of time, because when we help our clients with their writing the quiz results, and even if you use our chat GPT, actually the very first, like our chat GPT, the quiz up thing that we have, it's a spreadsheet, and it's got different tabs at the bottom of it with all the questions. And the first set of questions are about your foundational questions. And it's, who is my audience? What is my offer? If you don't know, it gives you the prompts to ask chat GPT to help you figure it out, because especially when you're using chat gpt, but this is how we flow when we did it with our clients, everything builds on everything else. So if you told me that you wanted to use a quiz to generate leads because you were selling a $5,000 coaching package, well, that might be a different quiz than, I'm a b2b person and I want to use a quiz to attract high-end ceos so that I can get a demo book for them.
Yeah.
Completely different kinds of quiz, different kinds of questions, different content, different wording. So if you don't know that from the beginning, you can't. And people do this with regular lead magnets too. Well, I
Mm-hmm.
got a lead magnet. Well, what was the lead magnet for? It was just to get people on my list. Well, what were they buying? I don't know. It just got people on my list. Well, that's why you got people on your list, but you got no sales.
Right. And that's why those same people that signed up for your list are leaving the list because
Exactly.
they don't know why
Exactly.
they're there. It's true.
There you
And
go.
look, even if you do this wrong, because we all have those moments, you can, including me, you can fix it. You can repair it. You can look. I told
Mhm.
ChatGPT I wanted to use Woo Rise for a quiz, and it said suggested Google Forms. Sometimes chat is not that smart.
Well, isn't there like a year thing on it too? Like it only
Yep.
goes up to 2022 and that kind of
Yep.
stuff. But, we have something where we actually evaluated about 15 different quiz platforms, and we break it down because, Tanya, you and I know we will buy a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to test it. We're geeky like that. We'll play
It's
around
true.
with the tools. And so we evaluate the tools, and, and I'll give, you guys really quickly, if you're trying to evaluate different quiz platforms, a few things you got to look for. First of all, what kind of support does it have? Because if you're, especially if you're a side hustler and you're up working on your quiz at 2 o'clock in the morning, and the only time they have any kind of customer support is from 8 to 3 p.m., it's not going to
Right.
work for you. You want to make sure that it plays nicely with other tools that you have, right? How does it integrate and connect with everything so that it shares data back and forth, which
Mm-hmm.
Google Forms is not the greatest at. You got to find some ways to get it to plug into other stuff. And then the third thing is, if it's actually five, but I'll give you the third one, is you want to make sure that it's easy for you to use,
Yeah.
right? How
That's right.
easy, if you got to get a PhD just to figure it out, it's not worth it.
Yeah. And I've had to connect my quiz, which currently I'm using Interact, even though I also have Smart Quiz Builder, which had some new, I think they had some new improvements even this past week. But
Yeah.
I have that integrated with my Go High Level app called Funnel Streams. That's the one I'm using. And I would love to use, hey, let me refer folks to Tai, because she's here on stage and she has a Go High Level app that is white labeled, that is awesome. But whatever you use, my point is, you have to be able to connect that quiz to an autoresponder, an email autoresponder, or some type of system
Mhm.
so that it recognizes the results that the
Yeah,
person earned, and then it sends them their specific information based on that outcome.
absolutely. That's so key to making sure your follow-up game is on point. And I see Nancy, I got to give a shout out. I
I
see
know.
Nancy.
I'm about to
Hey,
pop her up.
Nancy.
Nancy Marmaleo. Hold
Oh,
on, she's getting the
wow.
DJ era. What's up? What's up, lady? I
Yeah, I
love it.
think I've been connected to her just about that 2009, 2010 era as well. We've been connected for a long time as well. And I did get to meet her in person, so that's funny.
Look, okay, so I got Dan in the house being the house comedian tonight. So I won't pop up everything, but he did ask Chat GPT. I'll pop this up because it's hilarious. I asked Chat GPT, how to raise my second grandparent divorce. Dan, you are a hot mess. Go sit down.
That's hilarious.
You're in timeout. You're in timeout right now. But yeah, it's 2021. That is how far back Chat
Mhm.
GPT goes. So there are things that it's going to miss. And if it's giving you advice like, hey, go use Google Forms, that may not be the best and the wisest advice. I would definitely use someone like Ty as my go to for that. And to your point, Ty, I think there's been so much, there are so many different tools, and there's so much that's available to us now
Yeah.
that wasn't just 3 years ago. We didn't
Mhm.
have access to some of the things that we have now. So it's always important to also keep up to date with what is happening in this moment that I
Mhm.
can use and leverage. And if it impacts what you're doing with your quiz, would you say that you may need to make some upgrades at that time?
I think you may want to make some upgrades to it. I mean, if you find different ways to enhance things, like you might want to add a report, or maybe take your report from just text to video, or is there a way for you to start texting people results? I mean, there's all different kinds of things that you can do. And I'm glad you said that about all the tools popping up. That's one of the reasons why I know that this trend is going to be here for a while. And I always quote this as an example. My first webinar that I ever did was back in 1999, because we were all worried about Y2K. And
Yes.
yeah, right. And there's still people today that are just getting started trying to figure out how to do their first webinar. Well, quizzes are the new webinar,
Yeah.
right? We've seen a little bit of an influx and up and down, but what I've noticed most recently is the technology. People are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to make quiz technology, which tells me it's on an uprise, right?
Mm-hmm.
GoToMeeting used to be Citrix way back in the day, and they got bought out and they got built up. So
Yep.
now that the tech is becoming more accessible, people are going to want this more. And that's one of the things that we're planning on doing, Tanya, is because we've got this whole system of creating the content. We're going to be doing some PLR for quiz, right? So
Sweet.
imagine being able to get your entire questions, titles, hooks, emails, social media posts in a package, and then all you've got to do is go take it and put it into a quiz platform.
Wow.
Hmm.
See, I'm loving all of that. I need to also pull up a couple more comments. Let's see. Yes. First of all, let me acknowledge, Dan, you don't have to sit down. I was just kidding. You can stay. Hello, ladies and everyone in the chat. I can't stay, but I will catch the replay. Quizzes is speaking her language. That's right, because she is in the field of education. I believe you are an adjunct professor, Tatiana.
Okay.
Yes, Dr. Pam Perry TV. I use Keep now a lot better than what I had before. Yep, yep, yep. And Kartra even recently, as far as someone told me this past week, has quizzes now built into the Kartra system.
Mhm.
I don't know much about it, but they just said they do. So Dan asked the question out of curiosity, how are online quizzes created in comparison to those in old school magazines like Teen Vogue, etc.?
Yeah, like Teen Vogue, Reader's Digest, Cosmo, Quiz, right? So you see the popularity there. You know, I'm not quite sure like the exact direction, because we could go a couple of different ways. But one of the things I know about our quizzes is that we teach people how to create behavior-based quizzes. So can I give you a real quick example? Like one of our clients, she helps people get government funding for their business.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of her, like in her initial quiz question, she would ask people, so do you have a team of people, right? If you got funding for your quiz, yes or no? I'm like, well, of course they're going to say yes. right? Why are they going to tell you no, even though it's just a quiz? So
Mm-hmm.
let's make it behavior based. So instead of saying, do you have a team? Yes or no. The question is actually, a project comes in and it requires A and B, or it requires you to do X, Y, and Z. Who is going to do it on your team?
Love it.
Me, I do everything. Or no, I've got a specific person to do this. Or B, I've got to outsource it to so and so. Now, right? You're seeing behavior based data that's better than just a yes or no. And that's another thing I should have said. Don't use yes or no questions on your quiz, and don't use fill in the blank questions on your quiz. You want this to be quantitative data.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask a fill in the blank question and you send it to 100 people, you're going to get 100 different answers. And then you're going to have to spend your time on the back end trying to crunch it and say, well, 50 people said this and 20 people said this. And no, you want it to be quantitative. So you want to ask questions that are multiple choice based and behavior based. So that way you're beginning to put people in their right segments based on data that's already been tabulated for you. And I feel like I'm getting a little geeky, but I love that side.
No, I know you do. And I was picking up on that. That's why I had to put the gold up because I'm like, yeah, she's dropping some knowledge on y'all. Here's the thing, there is some similarity, Dan, to Teen Vogue, et cetera, in that even back then, people had an interest in doing quizzes to see what was going to happen on the other side.
Yeah.
And so the curiosity factor, I think, is what makes quizzes still so intriguing today. And now that we can use technology to help benefit them and
Mhm.
also serve our business as well. Our business objective is that we want to serve more people, right? We want to
Yeah.
serve them in the way that they want to be served. So it seems to me that quizzes are ideal because people have that curiosity. They want to know more. They want to know what their outcome is. And you want to know more so that you can feed them what they need, right? So
Yeah.
that they can improve and therefore you're also winning too. So I love the win win factor.
Well, that's the name of our webinar that we do. It's called From Curious to Converted, right? Because
Hey.
that's what we're trying to do. We're taking that curiosity that people have,
Yeah.
right? And then showing you here's how you convert them into lifelong loyal customers. And it's specifically by asking them questions, get their curiosity engaged and lead them through the process.
That's deep, girl. That's deep. Okay. Look, I knew I was going to keep you all night, but I didn't mean to keep you all night. We're getting ready to be at the top of the hour. So here's my question for you.
Mhm.
If people wanted to work with you, what is the best way to get more information about you? And I do have a website that I can pull up. Would you like me to pull that up now? Or would you like to tell the folks, like, should they start with a consult? Do they start with a quiz?
Yeah, I definitely would like them to start with a quiz, and let me pull that for you because I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier, but I'll give you that link. But yeah, and listen, you can find me on social media, right? I'm on social media. You can go to um, like Tai Goodwin on anywhere. And you can find me there. You can do that. And then I'm going to pull this up and I'm going to give you this link to one of my favorite quizzes. And it's all about what type of quiz is right for your business. And you get a report with it. So I'm going to give you, so I come up with all kinds of fun names, Tanya.
I
So
know you do. I
you know
know.
this is that's our media page. Like if you go to our website, but I just dropped that in the chat
Okay.
for you, Tanya. But our the name of the program that we do is called Quiz and Grow Rich, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
and if you go to quizandgrowrich.com/quiz type, right, you can take that quiz and it's going to help you figure out the best quiz strategy for you. And it's going to give you a report that's customized based on your business. You can take that and then you can find out more information. Like after you do that, you get to book a call with us and talk about it. But yeah, that's where you can start. That's a great place to start.
Love it. It's so interesting. I was wondering if you were going to say, hey, if you want to get into my process, take a quiz. What better way than to
Yeah.
take the quiz and to
Mhm.
experience what it could be like for you if you were doing this for your customers too? So I do
Exactly.
love this and I really appreciate it so much. And no, it's not specifically or exactly a video marketing topic, but one of the things that I'm finding is that I often get questions, Ty, which you'll get this. I get questions about all kinds of content marketing because we've
Mhm.
been around for a minute.
Yeah.
So
Well,
and I think that video can pair very well, especially on the back end. Like you
mhm,
said, I'm not so much a fan of the video quizzes, but I am a fan of using video to help personalize and further engage people
mhm,
once they've taken the quiz and they've signed up and
mhm.
they are putting their toe in to see, hey, I might be interested. So I
Yeah.
do appreciate that.
Well, you can use it on the front end too. Like the big thing, and you know this more than I do, but the short form videos right now, that are
Yep.
popping up all over the place. How cool is it to say, want more? Take the quiz. Find
Yep.
out more? Take the quiz. Discover, take the quiz. And it's a great way to lead into getting people on your email list, taking them from the video, sparking their curiosity with a quick 20-second video, and then getting them to take the next step, which is take the quiz to find out more. That's a no-brainer way to drive traffic to your lead magnet.
That is very smart. That is super smart. So now, look, because I'm getting ready to go all in on my quiz now that I'm happy with the landing page and with the other things that I've done to it. Yeah, I need to do that more with my reels, with my clips. Hey, y'all, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I'm seeing a couple of folks that are saying, thank you so much, Ty, here in the comments. So let me pop those up a little bit bigger so we can acknowledge.
Dan is hilarious. I'm sorry, I gotta say it. That
I
chick
know
told me the Wu-Tang Clan was a white bluegrass band.
he is a hot mess, but he's so much fun.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Because Erica said, Chat told me that Woo Rise might be too advanced. What? No. See, chat is out of pocket sometimes, y'all.
Yeah, check out Interact. I mean, Interact is going to be a better tool if you're new and getting started with this, and you want something that's going to look good
Hmm.
and still give you all the technical bells and whistles. I would definitely check Interact out.
I like Interact, and definitely Smart Quiz Builder is not a bad tool at all. You just need to know that you need to integrate it with WordPress, and there's some other things that you'll need to do. You need to pay attention to all the videos and learn how to use it.
It's a little bit more techy. Yeah, absolutely. But they're both two good tools.
Okay, Erica said, please drop Ty's quiz in YouTube chat. Let me pull that link back up for y'all, and I will type it out and put it up here on screen so that you have it. It is quizandgrowrich.com, and it's /quiz type. So let me just pop it up on some text here so that you have it. I will do that right now. Ta-da! Ask and you shall receive. Right there in the middle of the page.
And make sure you put the www in there too, because I think you got to have that in there for that link to work.
Here, let me make sure.
Yeah,
I'll add that too so that people have it. Okay, you know
there
I
we
can
go.
help you fix that, by the way, huh?
Yes, that's a whole other.
Okay. Offline conversation. Okay, so everybody, www.quizandgrowrich.com and quiz type. That's where you're going to go to take this quiz and to get more information and to get into Ty's circle of trust. This was so much fun. I just love getting a chance to hang out with you. Look, we'll have to do this again on November 30th. It should just be our anniversary.
I think it's a deal. Let's do it.
I don't know if it'll be 12 years from now again, but
I don't think it
I
should be
think
12 years. I
it
think we
should be
can.
shorter.
We'll speed it up.
We'll speed that up. Yes. Thank you, everybody, for participating in the chat. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your comedy. And thank you for just hanging out because you always make it fun and exciting. Is there anything that you want to leave the folks with? Just a last, I don't know, piece of advice or a last word before we can disconnect?
It's not often in the home marketing space that you find like people who are real. And Tanya, you are a real one. The way you care about your community, the way you care about the people that are connected to you, I so respect and admire that about you. You're just amazing. So that's my advice. When you find good people, you should really give them their flowers. You should cherish them. And I cherish our friendship. I really, really do.
I do too. Stop trying to make me y'all. Don't do it. Dan says Smith and Goodwin killing it every time. Look, that's our new tagline.
I want that screenshot. That's what we need. That's
I'm
awesome.
I'm gonna take a screenshot of that and I am definitely putting it up. I know. And Renee said, thank y'all so much. No, every year is too long. 30th of the month. Look, Ty and I have talked about doing some type of project. I don't know, maybe.
Hmm.
We just
Yeah,
always have so much going on, but we need to figure that out.
well, we'll do it. We'll make that a priority in 2024 for sure.
We will. We'll be doing something, y'all. Stacy Moore said, Tai Goodwin, what's up?
Hey, Tracy, how you doing? Long time connection too.
And thank you too. He spoke fashion. Look, we always have fun. I love getting to see people who I've just gotten familiar with. Like you all are family. You all are community, but you're family. And I just appreciate you being here and supporting Ty. Thank you so much for supporting me and thank you for being here. Don't forget to go back to www.quizandgrowrich.com/quiz type so that you can get connected to Ty. Ty, thank you once again. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to close us out.
Hmm.
And I just appreciate you. You know, I always do. And anytime, even in between these 12 years, we're in touch behind the scenes regardless, y'all. So just know that. But we'll figure out some kind of way to stay, to get in front of you all
Hmm.
together too, more
Deal.
frequently.
Deal.
Okay. All righty, folks. So if you learned something, I want you to share hashtag learn something new with your nugget, whatever your nugget is. And I may not be able to see it before we disconnect, but I will be watching and checking out the replay or checking out the comments a little bit later on to see what you learned. If you learned something new, type in learn something new and share it with a friend or a business colleague or somebody that you think just needs to know what we talked about today because quizzes can be a very powerful lead magnet, whether you're a side hustler or not. We just want you to succeed. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here each and every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Now, next week, I do have a special guest, Karen Thaxton of Marketing with Words. And you're going to love hearing more about copywriting because, yeah, copy has something to do with video too, y'all. So we need to talk a little bit about that. And that honestly has been in the past my Achilles heel because at first I didn't want to pay attention to it. I just thought, hey, let me put my stuff out there and hope and pray. But as the years went on and I got more mature in my business, I recognized that copy is really the core. It's at the core and at the heart of your game because it helps people to know what they're getting into with you. So even when we talked about quizzes with Ty. All right, y'all. That's it. That's all I got. If you have any questions and you want to leave them in the chat, I'll make sure those get to Ty and I'll also pay attention as well and see if there's anything we can help you with. But otherwise, I hope that we will see you next time in the feed. Stay blessed and have a wonderful holiday season. I know we're going into that time frame. For those of you who, if this is a very hard and difficult period of time for you, then just know that I'm sending you nothing but positive thoughts, wishes, and prayers. And I hope that everything goes well over the next several weeks. By the way, my daughter, my eldest daughter, is going to be graduating from college. Ooh, so that does make me feel a little bit older. But I'm excited about that. So there will be a period of time where I'm going to have to like take a quick breather, but I'll share that with you all and make sure you know in advance. It's going to be in mid to late December. Okay, folks, that's it. Have a good night. And thanks so much for being here. We'll see you next time in the stream.